Yo, what's going on, guys? We are here with my what to expect from the Philadelphia 76ers this coming season. Of course, before we start today's video, I want to hear three things from you guys, and those three things are who's going to be an X factor, excluding James Harden and Joel Embiid. I think Tyrese Maxey is going to be the freaking guy. Now, second question, I want to hear the comments. What will their record be? I think this is a top three seed. They have probably the best offseason, arguably one of the best off seasons. And three, what is your season expectation for this team? And we'll get right into today's video. And they have Charlie Brown Jr. and Julian Champagnie on a two-way. And they now have also Michael Foster Jr., Charles Bassey, James Harden, Montrezl Harrell, Tobias Harris, Daniel House, Isaiah Joe, Furkan Korkmaz, Tyrese Maxey, DeAnthony Milton, Shake Milton, Georges Niang, Trevelyan Queen, Paul Reed Jr., Jaden Springer, Matisse Thybulle, PJ Tucker. And by the way, Paul Reed Jr. and Isaiah Joe Cook have been phenomenal in the summer league. Both have been phenomenal in the G League. I think these are two guys that they've developed in-house who are going to be studs, okay? And the current roster, they already have their two ways filled out. And I want to say with their current roster, they are at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And they have to cut three guys. And it sucks to say that they have to cut three guys. And I really don't know who those three guys will be. It could be Michael Foster Jr. and Trevelyan Queen. And then maybe, I don't even know. I mean, they could. Tell me down below, who do you think they'll cut? It's so hard to look at this and try to see who they'll cut, but I want to hear your thoughts down below. And obviously, I think the starting lineup for this coming season is going to be James Harden, Tyrese Maxey, probably Tobias Harris, PJ Tucker, I guess, starting, and Joel Embiid with DeAnthony Milton, Shake Milton, Daniel House Jr., Montrezl Harrell, and Georges Niang off the bench with Furkan Korkmaz, Isaiah Joe, and Paul Reed also helping out there. The team's extremely deep, okay? Don't get me wrong. I think this is a team that's, oh my God, unreal. But for me, when we look at this, I do have some questions. And I mean, first off, they've done a great job at getting themselves ready for this season, and I think Philly's a good team, but do we have some questions what the Sixers rotation is gonna look like? Okay, with all the guys, I think Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, Tobias Harris, PJ Tucker, and Joel Embiid will play the most. I mean, I think that's their closing lineup: Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, Tobias Harris, PJ Tucker, Joel Embiid. That's the starting and closing lineup. And I think right now with the current team, you could argue they run a 10-man rotation with Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, Tobias Harris, PJ Tucker, Joel Embiid being the main guys. Then off the bench you have DeAnthony Milton, Daniel House, Georges Niang, and Montrezl Harrell being the 9 guys off the bench. And then the 10th guy off the bench could either be, that's where it gets interesting, because if you think DeAnthony Milton, Shake Milton, Daniel House, Montrezl Harrell are the 4 guys first off the bench, and if they go 10 deep, one could argue it'll either be Georges Niang or Furkan Korkmaz. I think it's Georges Niang. I think their 10-man rotation again is right here: DeAnthony Milton, Daniel House, Georges Niang, Montrezl Harrell, and Shake Milton. Okay, and that way they have basically every position covered: power forward, point guard, shooting guard, small forward. And we're assuming that Tucker starts and adjusts accordingly. He's brought in to defend the best players in the biggest games of the season and the postseason. So the Sixers might as well get comfortable playing alongside their best players. So Tucker joins a group that might be able to survive, I think, easily this year, going into being a top 5 seed and maybe even a top 3. I think easily a top 5. I think they could be a top 3 seed. And Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid, I think Maxey improved and his floor game is definitely going to have to be sharper, but it's still going to be interesting because I think Tyrese Maxey and Joel should stay on the floor at the same time. So James Harden and Tobias Harris should take their breaks together, and then Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid take their breaks together. So when Joel goes off the floor, Tyrese should go off the floor. When James Harden goes off the floor, Tobias should go off the floor, but Tyrese and Joel stay on. And yeah, I think also Joel I think the starters should all play like 34 minutes. I think this is a good team. Okay. And I like Paul Reed, and he dominated a couple summer league games. And coming off a postseason, which he generally held up well, the Sixers have a positive point differential with him on the floor, and I would like to see him, be the backup center when compete with Montrezl Harrell to be the defensive backup center, while Montrezl Harrell is more like the 6-man scoring guy, and I think he can really do it. And James Harden, he hasn't averaged less than 35 minutes a game since he was in Oklahoma City, while Embiid and Harris both averaged 34 minutes last year. So I think Tucker is probably the guy who'll probably play less than 30 minutes a night. But James Harden is going to be interesting, because when James Harden, it'll be interesting how they'll switch him out with like House, Milton, and the other Milton, Shake, and D'Anthony. And the goal with like D'Anthony is to always play him with Maxey or Harden when he comes on the floor, because in the last 3 seasons, Milton played shooting guard for at least 79% of his minutes, and the net rating was plus 7.2, plus 4.2, and plus 7.6 in those 3 seasons with him doing that. Now the 10th spot's tricky, because do you put in like Matisse Thybulle, or do you put in Shake Milton? And like I went with Georges Niang because the shooting plays well with the guys. The other lineup could be D'Anthony Milton, Daniel House, Georges Niang, Matisse Thybulle, and Montrezl Harrell. That one's interesting, and there's a lot of stuff to look right there, because it is an interesting lineup. I don't know. I think this is a team that there's a lot of questions. I just think they're so deep, and they have so many players, and that's why I think they're one of the top teams in the NBA, and why I think they really are a threat to make some noise this coming season, because they are one of the deepest teams. They have like the luxury of having like 13, 14 guys that would be rotational players, and I think the Clippers and 76ers could be the NBA Finals this year. And it's wild, because the final question is like the Sixers is the best lineup for Tucker at times Harden, Harris, House, and Embiid next to Tucker, because you can't play Thybulle and Tucker at the same time. And it's definitely interesting. James Harden, Tyrese Maxey was the second best offensive rating, like 2-man lineups with at least 500 minutes, behind Austin Rivers and Aaron Gordon, which is unreal. And I think the postseason lineup could be, Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, Tobias Harris, PJ Tucker, Joel Embiid, D'Anthony Milton, Daniel House, Matisse Thybulle, Montrezl Harrell, and I don't know if we go either Paul Reed or Shake Milton. Depends on how the rebounding and the defense is shoring up. But that's basically it. I hope you guys did enjoy it, but peace out.